Hi, and welcome to the third installment of our Culture Talks. And today what we're actually going to do is we're going to focus on a couple of different areas that are really important, especially in this current climate of everything going on with the pandemic and COVID-19. So at the start, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the importance of having a plan for post-COVID-19 and the importance of starting to look ahead, even in these circumstances when you don't know what's happening with your business or what will happen to your business. It's important to lay the foundation and start trying to keep a positive mindset that if an opportunity arises that you can get back out into opening the business, then you want to do that in the quickest way possible. And we'll share some of our ideas on what we're currently doing to do the same. And we're also going to talk about unemployment and the importance of understanding that some businesses will not survive past the furlough period, and cash flow is just going to drop, and whether that means temporary unemployment for their furloughed employees or businesses going under, it can have a massive impact on the local economy, and we'll touch upon that. But also from the individual, the person's perspective, the people who become unemployed, or the businesses, or the business leaders who have to have those really, really difficult and draining conversations, and how mental health is impacted. And we'll focus on mental health specifically, about some of the things you can do, not only from a management perspective or a business owner perspective or an employee perspective, but as a human being, that you understand it's important to talk out. If you're not happy, it's okay not to be okay, and that you're looking after the people around you. Again, work colleagues, family members, and friends. But look, Sean, I'll let you jump in at the first point, and we can get into it.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll look at this as a few different areas. Some of the things, as you mentioned there, is that first of all, we're going to have workplaces who are coming back to the workplace in, I suppose, maybe a relatively soon space of time, and others who are going to take that wee bit longer. We're also going to have the scenario where some businesses aren't going to be able to come back and operate, and they're not going to hit the ground running. They're not going to be operating at full capacity straight away, which is going to be a difficult circumstance. And then we're going to have the businesses who can't sustain all of their employees because business has dropped so much, which is going to be very difficult, because it's going to lead to a lot of unfortunate unemployment, which we've seen a lot of already happen with, like the British Airways and things like that already. So it's going to be difficult times ahead. And one of the things that we've been looking at is, of recent times, we've become part of a couple of forums. And that's for anybody who isn't aware of it. We're a management company for a bowling alley called Odyssey Bowl. And yesterday it was actually on the news. So one of the forums that we're part of, set up by Thomas Fagan from Eddie Irvine Sports, is the Entertainment and Leisure Forum. And the focus around that is really looking at like the rates and the grants and things like that the government aren't supplying at the minute for larger businesses, which makes things very, very difficult for a large business who has a lot of outgoings and employ a lot of people, and who do need that extra support. So that's what that forum is about. And then Michael McGovern from Movie House Cinemas has set up the Northern Ireland Bowling Forum, which we took part in yesterday. And these things are great because it gives people the opportunity, first of all, to come together and create a consistent approach. And it's great to see that businesses who are competition to each other essentially are coming together and to come to some conclusions, bring together some ideas. And that consistent approach is really what's going to sustain us throughout this. If we can gain people's confidence, we can build the confidence that we can provide a safe environment, then that will be great. It will get us a great start, and of course get more team members on board when business increases and things like that. So these things are all very, very important. And there's a few different areas that we look at within that. First of all, it's the safety of the team members who are coming in, the safety of the employees, and then the actual business itself. So is it sustainable? And there's a lot of places such as hospitality industry and things like that who are going to really struggle big time with this, and the government's going to have to lend more support than we are lending in order to get us through this period. Because if the hospitality industry goes on its knees, you're losing a lot. Our hospitality industry is a big, big industry, as we all very well know, and an amazing industry as well that gives so many opportunities to so many people, and it's deserving of some sort of support following COVID-19, because up to now, let's face it, has been a struggle. There has been support given, but it hasn't been that easy to get. Hasn't been easy to come across, and having to pay money out in advance of furlough pay coming in hasn't been easy. So there's been, as you said, cash flow problems going through it, and that's going to continue on after that.
Yeah, look, I think you've done a good job of highlighting some of the things that we're looking at doing, you know, right down to like painting your lanes or sellotaping out 2 meter squares like the local grocery stores and shops are doing, and looking at how you can get ahead of that curve in terms of, you know, if you're in a position where you don't know what the future holds for your business, you're going to take every chance. You should be taking every chance possible to make sure that you have the chance, you know, if that makes sense. You should be laying out plans, foundations, like we are trying to do. Sean mentioned lobbying with competitors. So it's important to understand that, yes, we're all in a marketplace and there's competitive advantages over location and all that. But when it really comes down to it, in a scenario like this, which is completely unprecedented, has never happened before on this scale, there may be no marketplace to go back to. So you need to pull together as a group of people who are in the same similar type businesses and understand that together there is strength in numbers, and that you're going to local government, you're going to your local MP, you're speaking to them and you're saying that this is what we need. Like I know that England, Scotland and Wales have 12 months of rate relief. We have only got in Northern Ireland 3 months. And Michael McAdams spoke extremely well last night on the BBC Newsline, as well as Thomas Fagan from Eddie Irvine Sports, and they spoke so well about how it's important for the government to go back, and obviously health is the main concern. Of course, they're focused on that, but there is a time now, hopefully, to start as things I believe are getting better. You start looking at the infrastructure, you start looking at the businesses, you start looking at how the world can go back to a normality that mimics what we knew before. So looking forward to what you can be doing, and you know, it's right down to the simple things like starting to speak and use different language with your teams, that you're in constant contact with them, that you're reminding them that you're doing everything you can, offering them to give ideas that they can push forward, that you can then pass on to the owners of the organization, or you, the owner of the organization, can lobby with the other people in your marketplace. Don't sit still, because if you create no action, if there's no cause, there'll be no effect. And you need to understand that, live it, and actually move forward with it. Yes, Sean mentioned that there are a lot of businesses, especially the hospitality industry, who are genuinely on their knees at the minute. But then you can see some stories of maybe takeaways or businesses like Dean's restaurants, like Michael Dean and his team snapped in the action, started putting delivery services in place. It's inspiring when you see businesses, you feel a sense of pride when you say, do you know what, they're not taking it lying down. And I know, and we're not taking away from the fact that many businesses don't have the capacity. Believe me, Sean, we can admit that we have struggled to figure out a platform which we're hopefully going to roll out very soon, but to put everything online. Now we're in the service industry, so it should be easier for us to do something like that, especially with Zoom calls and whatever. But whatever your context is, have a think outside the box, speak to your team, look at your competitors and see what they're doing, and do not be afraid to reach out to them and say, I'm struggling, can you help? Because there aren't many people who are going to take advantage in a situation like this, because people are people. Yeah, you know,
I think even from the conversation we had yesterday, it's heartwarming to kind of have everybody from the same industry together, who actually do genuinely care about each other. You know, we talk about competition and things like that, but you know, we would never want to see anything go wrong with any other business, no matter what they are. The competition's healthy, it's good, and we have all worked together anyway. We've all communicated with each other at other points when we needed that support, and when we've been there to support other people too. So it's competition, but it's healthy and it's good natured competition as well, because for the greater good of everybody. But one of the other things that you touched on there, JP, was talking about the team in particular, and that's obviously is one of our main focuses in talking about the cultural aspects and how we move forward with that. You know, looking at it now at the minute, as you say, it's important to have the contact with the people within your organization now, and take their points, listen to them, as you say, and pass that on. And it really still value them. You know, even your employees who are furloughed at this point, they're still part of your team, and it's important. And I've heard lots of stories about lots of positive stories about people who have done the right thing, who have kept communication with their team, and that's great to hear. And I hope most organizations at least are doing that. But it's important that we remember the circumstances they're under, how difficult it is whenever they're sitting at home. And everybody has different circumstances, families, bills to pay, whatever the circumstances may be. And it's a difficult point already, without financial concerns and not knowing what the future holds. So I think it's important with information you have that you're able to share, that you share it with them immediately. Just be open and honest with your team, create that bond and that trust that you hopefully did have beforehand, and it'll hold you, it'll help you in the future when your business does open, because the people who you show respect to now will show respect to you once you reopen again, and that'll make your business even more stronger. And it's going to be difficult points because, as we said, there's some businesses won't be able to operate at full capacity. So unfortunately, we don't know what the circumstances are going to be in terms of furlough pay, but when the business comes back, not all employees are going to come back with it. Now, I don't know if furlough pay will continue at that point, and some can get it, some can't, but there's going to be difficult decisions that need to be made, and it's about trying to make these as fairly as possible, and giving your team the right amount of hours to keep them covered. And there's going to be a lot of different scenarios that we need to look at, and it will be tough, and there will be people who just can't sustain all the employees that they had at the beginning of COVID-19, and unfortunately we're going to see redundancies, we're going to see people laid off and left without work. And the unemployment unfortunately isn't going to help mental health, which is already probably very low, and we probably don't even know the extent of where the mental health is now, and it's really deteriorating in them circumstances.
Yeah, look, I think that there is going to be, we don't know if it's going to be a short-term unemployment for businesses to get back up on their feet. I think it's highly likely that organizations are going to have to choose a certain percentage of people coming in. Naturally, when you're socially distancing, you need to lower the numbers, so there isn't as much demand in terms of the amount of people you need on shift. Now, I think that the element of maybe rotating shifts and giving everybody a piece of the pie, for lack of a better way of describing it, is probably the best way forward. Myself and Sean would have a lot of experience in terms of rotas, especially in busy environments and event environments and whatever.
Obviously if that's possible, it depends on what the business is, but if that's possible, it's definitely the best way to do it.
Yeah. So, like for instance, right before everything went into lockdown, I know that a lot of organizations were looking at rotating. So 50% of the organization being in, if you're in an office setting, 1 week, and 50% the next week, and vice versa. And the weeks you're not in, you're working from home if you have the capacity to do that, like Sean mentioned. So it's important to understand that if there is a situation where there is unemployment, and unfortunately, from what we're seeing and from what we believe, and based on everything of the conversations we're having with local councils and whatever, like, it looks as though there will be a lot of unemployment and businesses will crumble, unfortunately. And I think as a community, as a business community, it's important for us to pull together. And not that there's much to tell right now, but myself and Sean have really been looking at that, because the mental health side, Sean, like you mentioned, it's so important to understand that it is going to have an adverse impact on our population, the people. Like, at the end of the day, you need to remember, we hold extremely busy and high rates of suicide and mental health issues in this region in Northern Ireland. And it's important to understand that there is going to be an influx, there's going to be a surge after this, and we hear the terms flattening the curve. I believe that we need to start creating a contingency plan here for people, and I mean this inside and outside of business, because and employment, because I'm fearful that the pressure, and a lot of times it'll start from financial pressure, or just maybe losing loved ones, maybe just the pressure leaders are under, owners are under, maybe you lose your business. There needs to be things put in place for people to have a support from peers. The business community have led the way for many years now, especially when there was no government in place. And every event, Sean, as you know, we went to, there was a sly joke about how the business community are leading the way. And you'd mentioned before about Colin Neal, and how amazing he's doing in terms of lobbying for the hospitality industry. And one person can make a massive ripple, especially in a small pond like Northern Ireland. So remember that, and understand that you taking the time to, if you're in a position, some businesses have done amazing, some businesses need extra people, and they will continue to need extra people. If you have the capacity to take someone on and give them a couple of hours, please do not hesitate. put it out there, speak to people, put it out on LinkedIn, put it on Facebook, give people opportunities to keep their livelihood going in terms of financial perspective. And, you know, if you're in a situation where you had to let people go, put it out there. Put it out there, and I guarantee you there will be people who will try with the best intentions to help you out, because, again, there is strength in numbers. And I remember I put a video out, and it's probably the lowest, most somber video I've ever put out, and it was after we had to tell our guys, and before we found out if they were going to be furloughed, we had to tell them that they were being made redundant. And it was really difficult, but I was still trying to stay optimistic. And at the time, the amount of people who either direct mailed me or posted underneath commenting that, you know, things will get better, come on, keep it going. And I'm a positive person, but at the best of times, when you have to have those types of conversations, and we supported each other, our whole management team, the team that we oversee, we all came together as a management team and rolled that out together. There's some organizations that you don't have that luxury, but you have to take it all on the chin. So I suppose it'd be a good time to maybe say that, and I made a video last night about it, but if you need any kind of support, myself and Sean are here. We're here to talk to you, to listen, more importantly. And if you need any kind of support, you need put in touch with somebody. I'm not saying we know everybody, but I know that we have a network of people, of friends around us that we have met through the business community who are willing to help. And I think it's important to understand that and start focusing on some of the charities, and because honing in on that mental health side of things, you need to remember that there are some amazing, amazing charities. One that we always highlight that always stands out to us is PIPS charity. We have a fantastic relationship with PIPS charity, who are there and have been there for our team over a number of years. At one point, we needed them more than we ever needed them. And they stood up beside us, gave us the advice when we were worried about giving the wrong advice. And, you know, they're there to help.
Yeah, so I mean, when we talk about support as well, it's not only about the individual support, but it's about when we're creating plans for businesses moving forward as well. A lot of things that we're going to look at, that all businesses are going to look at, is how do we open safely and provide that safety net for both our team and our customers coming in. But as well as that, we need to provide that safety net in terms of mental health. So that needs to be part of the planning for reopening again, because even the team who are lucky enough to come back into the workplace, there's still been a hard slog behind them. A lot of stuff that will have gone on that we won't even know. A lot of things that have happened because we don't have that same contact that we would have had before within the workplaces. So it's nearly in some ways about getting to know your team again on the short term, and understanding where they're coming from and what issues or concerns that they may have working in the workplace. And it goes back to that communication piece again, but there should be some sort of planning in terms of looking after your team's mental health and how you do put things forward in terms of maybe some organizations who don't have the capacity to keep people on, how they discuss that, and that they do take the time with the employees who they're left in that position with. Because there's no employer wants to let employees go. It's not a nice scenario, as you said. I mean, we done it in that scenario, and thankfully it all turned around a bit, and we know we'll have our team together again and ready to come in. But if you're in a circumstance where you're making that a permanent decision for someone, that's very, very difficult. It's tough for leaders of organizations to do that. But this is the time that leaders need to stand up. There are tough circumstances which need to be dealt with, and they have to be able to do that, but with a caring and understanding, empathetic way that there is to do it. So it's about really, really planning ahead, really understanding people, and good communication are all the key aspects that we need to look at moving forward. In terms of the unemployment side, you know yourself, JP, we've been looking at ways that we can support unemployment, that we can support people who are left unemployed. And one of the things that we looked at before this all happened was about how we can create good people to go into good organizations and create a high standard. So we want to try and match that up, and we're talking in terms of culture here, how we put culture training in place for the people as well as the business, and put that together. So we've started to look at this in a different aspect now, about how we can just help everyone as much as we can, because I think business is at the center of everything. It's at the center of the people, and it's at the center of the communities, and we want to be able to impact all that. That's what Core Impact's about. It's about impacting people, impacting business, and impacting community. And we want to provide whatever we can after this, and whatever way we can support people, we're very open to doing that. So if you have any suggestions or anything that you'd like to ask, please contact us, as JP said there.
Yeah, look, I mean, we could go on forever, so we should probably call it a close a little bit, but I just wanted to highlight, we're here to help, whether that's in a capacity that we're working alongside you in your organization, or it's literally us picking up the phone or taking a Zoom call and giving our honest, God honest opinion. We're always here to help. Yeah. And we try to stick true to our word to that. We try to add value where we can, and we love doing it. We first and foremost obviously look after the team that we're directly responsible for, and we make sure and we've made sure that they're ticking along, and the WhatsApp group is popping away every day, every hour, and they're having a bit of banter. They were talking about putting quizzes together. They've already started putting your sort of name the celebrity pictures in, and and it's a nice feeling when you see that you've done the groundwork there, and it almost looks after itself. And I could go off on a whole tangent about informal leaders and stuff, but I won't. But I'll pull it there. But mental health, I suppose, being one of the main key components of this conversation, and understanding that it is okay not to be okay. It is okay to ask for help. Just because you reach out to somebody doesn't mean that they're going to judge you. And sometimes a stranger can help. And if we're a stranger to you, please reach out, have a conversation with us. We're all, day or night, we will always get back to you as soon as we can. And I hope you're all keeping safe.
I think it's important to say as well, just a big thank you to anyone who supported us as well. We've had quite a few messages coming through, people asking how we're doing, how we're getting on, and giving us different pieces of advice or sending us information on grants and things like that. Mollusk Enterprise Park as well, we've just received messages from them, very supportive, as well as many of the people within our LinkedIn network as well, who we now call friends, which has been amazing as part of this journey. So guys, look, listen, there's going to be lots of different scenarios that are going to come into this, but we'll reiterate just for the last time, we're here to help. So in terms of your team, just remember, engage, enable, and empower.